Hello, Times Square Edition. Welcome to the fourth episode of Chad's Cocktail Corner. Welcome back. Four times. Like 4 years in high school or 4 years in college. And you know what? By next episode, we all graduate and we go on to our masters. Because you're all going to progress to becoming masters in creative, exciting, delicious, fun, experimental cocktails. A lot happens in 4 years. It's also graduation season. I realize even though it doesn't feel like it, I want to give a shout out to my daughter, Madeline, who's just graduated high school and will be off to college in the fall. It's certainly a challenging year for her and any of us who have kids or friends or family that are graduating anything or quite honestly at any level of school. Tough times, but she's keeping a positive spirit and making the best of it like we all are, staying strong, whether it's that or anything else that has affected us. But also graduation season brings on what's coming this weekend, which I cannot believe it, Memorial Day. I don't know how it's Memorial Day. It can't possibly be Memorial Day, but it is. So I had to get inspiration this week for what can we use to celebrate that. I wanted something large format. I wanted something kind of fruit forward, just delicious. Wide margin for error. You can be creative. If you don't have some ingredients, you can use other ingredients, whatever you might have kind of way. It'll be perfect. It could last a whole weekend. No problem whatsoever. So for this, the cocktail we are doing this week is sangria. Yes, sangria. So sangria, if you don't know, originated in Spain. It's a Spanish cocktail, also part Portuguese. I must mention that. If not, my Portuguese firecracker in GE will probably fly back over here and take me out. So just so you know a little bit of the history of it. And we are going to do a wine-based red wine sangria. I think it's great for this holiday in general. Normally we'd be, picnicking around the beach or in a park, hopefully, or wherever it is. In some areas we can, in some areas we can't. It's great for large format, whether you're social distancing with a party of 2 or 9.5, or whatever that might be. This is a great thing to have. It's easy. It's affordable and extremely flexible to do. We're going to do a red wine one, but if you look online or Google it, there's literally endless amounts of recipes for it. There's white wines, there's champagne, there's anything you can imagine. But we're going to go the classic red. We'll go over the ingredients, a little spin that we're making on it to make it extra delicious, and then you can take it from there. So, the wine. We're going to start, if we're making a cocktail that comes from Spain, we're going to use a Spanish wine. This is a Spanish Rioja, or you can use a Tempranillo, would be preferable, but honestly, you can use any red wine you like. You can use a Pinot Noir, you can use a Malbec, you can use a Zinfandel, something that's very fruit forward. Not crazy dry. This I picked up at Costco today. I braved the madness. It's normally $9.99 a bottle, but it was $3 off today, so $6.99, and it's actually a really tasty bottle of wine. So there'll be 2 bottles of red wine. So sangria is a wine-based cocktail that has some sweetener in it, has fruit juices in it, and some liquor in it to kind of kick it up, and usually some orange liqueur, which we've used in the past, or variations of, so multitasking. So the main liquor in it is usually a brandy, which you probably don't realize, but the grand majority of sangrias you've had have brandy in it. It's a spirit distilled from grapes, so has some of that fruitiness and sweetness, but it'll fortify it, but it won't really stand out. You won't notice like I'm drinking brandy at all. An orange liqueur. Here, believe it or not, I have triple sec, which I said maybe don't use it next time, but this is where triple sec, but this is where your Cointreau comes in, or many of you have emailed me or texted me many versions of your cocktails that had different orange liqueurs or blood orange liqueurs. Works great. A sweetener. So normally it'll call for a simple syrup. Simple syrup is usually just half parts sugar and water, either heat it up or not and just let it dissolve, and then you have simple syrup. Or for us, we're going to be using, since we got it before, agave nectar. Works beautiful. And then some juice. And today I'll be using orange juice. I'll be using a little pomegranate juice because this is kind of what I use as almost like the dumpster dive in the fridge, and someone bought this in my family and hasn't drank it, so this bad boy's going in. And then also the main ingredient is fruit. I cut this in advance to save time. So any fruit you like. So these are limes and strawberries and oranges and grapefruit and anything you can imagine. You can use, blackberries, blueberries, schnozberries, cranberries, boysenberries, whatever you want will work. So let us make it. We'll start with a pitcher or any sort of large vessel. You can use anything you want. And first we'll put the fruit in. This is going to be a little actually challenging, I realize now, to get all the fruit. But all the kids go into the pool. We'll get them all in. Patience, and I'm not very patient all the time. So, only a few fell. That's our vessel. You see this beautiful fruit. And the fruit is almost going to act like if you put it's like a tea bag before you steep tea. So this is going to allow in itself to steep into all the liquids we put in, which I'll share. So we will start. And it's not super complicated. So it's 2 bottles of the Rioja, or red wine. And this is very satisfying to do. Our measurements are, dump those bottles right in. Lovely. And then our brandy. So it is 1 cup of brandy. You can also use rum, by the way, if you don't want to bother. This is like $9 or $8. But quite honestly, I don't use brandy often besides sangria. So if you make sangria a lot, it's wonderful, but you can always use rum if you want to. So 1 cup of rum. I realize I didn't measure this out in advance, so this is going to be a little bit full, but that's okay. Then 1 cup of orange juice. Ooh, we're pushing it. And a 1/2 cup, which I should measure. So half of it, this is a cup, we'll use half of it, of triple sec. Woo! That's close. So for TV purposes, we'll edit and pour a little bit out just to give us a little bit of room. These are one takes, baby. 1 take. I don't do any rehearsals. So this is still beautiful, magical goodness that we will use later. A little dash of pomegranate. You don't need it. You can use any juice, anything you have. It's no problem. And then normally it'll call for about a 1/2 cup of sweetener or simple syrup, but this is where our agave comes in, and we can just squeeze some lovely in. And there we go. And then I will get off camera. And just let this just gently mix, right? And the idea is you want to let this sit as long as you can, right? Think of this as a tea or a marinade. And what's happening is all that fruit is absorbing all the amazing flavors of the liquid, and it's going to make it taste outstanding, amazing. As well, at the same time, all this amazing fruit is infusing itself into all the liquids we added. So it's like the perfect marriage and blend. It's just marinating, it's seeping, it's soaking into one another, it's infusing together by itself. It's its own kind of beautiful picture of chemistry. If you can let it sit for an hour, it can be even longer. This can sit a long time. I'm not putting it on ice now, clearly, because I don't want it to water down. It's ready to roll. So when time comes, we pour it right over ice and go. So I will do that. And I apologize for the length of these videos. So really quickly, you'll see how the magic happens. It's some ice. Normally this would be at least an hour or two later, but for TV purposes, we have to take the finished dish out of the oven. And then a little bit of extra of that lovely fruit comes right in. I don't want to advertise for Tropicana. And there we have our Memorial Day festive sangria. Again, let's see how we did. Really great. It'll be amazingly better an hour later, however long it is. But this will last for days for you, so you can keep filling it up. It might last you all weekend. It can last you an hour or two. I hope you enjoy it. Hope this is A fun weekend for you as best it can be. Again, we miss you. Be well, be safe. We will be together soon. Happy cocktails. Happy Memorial Day.